There is a legend among Tsimshian First Nations living on the west coast of Canada. It tells of a time when the earth was covered in permanent ice and snow. Raven, the creator, turned the earth green as it is now. But as a reminder of that time, he asked the black bears to turn every 10th cub white. Raven promised that these bears would have unique powers. They would lead chosen people to special places and have the ability to find fish. He also promised that he would set aside a rainforest home for these ghost bears, where they would live in peace and harmony with Tsimshian people forever. When Europeans first explored these forested coastal islands, they heard the legend, but didn't believe it. They couldn't have been more wrong. The Great Bear Rainforest is located on the west coast of Canada, where over 500 kilometers of fjords and island forests create the largest intact temperate rainforest in the world. This is where the coast mountains meet the Pacific Ocean, a place where clouds rise quickly and drop over 3 meters of rain here every year. The mosses and lichens retain much of this moisture, stabilizing living conditions and producing some of the largest hemlock, red cedar, and Sitka spruce trees in Canada. Because of these temperate conditions, it takes longer for the biomass to break down and decay here than it does in tropical rainforests. Yet this temperate rainforest is much more productive. By late August, salmon are starting to gather in the estuaries, but the creeks are still too shallow for them to make their way upstream. So they must wait for the fall rains, when the streams will rise, allowing the salmon to return to their spawning grounds. By late September, many of the females have already laid their eggs. But the humpback males stay close by, ready to fertilize any remaining eggs. Battered and torn, and discolored by fungi that begins to grow on them as they re-enter the freshwater streams, their life cycle is now almost complete, but they still have 2 remaining tasks to fulfill. To provide a vital food source for the bears before hibernation, and to help fertilize the forest and ocean. After catching a fish, the bears often take their catch into the forest to eat. In good years, they can be more selective, eating only the best parts before discarding the remaining carcasses on the rainforest floor, where nitrogen from their decaying bodies helps fertilize the forest. Others are left on rocks, where they will decompose and be washed downstream into the ocean, where they will help feed krill, a crucial food source for tiny salmon first entering the ocean. But bears are not the only ones to feed on salmon. Other wildlife species, such as bald eagles and coastal wolves, feed on them too, while their eggs become an important food source for birds, including these hungry Stella's jays. Salmon are therefore essential to this rainforest. They feed the entire ecosystem. Other than mating season, black bears spend most of their lives in solitude. They are omnivores, and in spring and summer their diet is made up of herring eggs, clams, mussels, barnacles, grasses, sedges, and skunk cabbage. But each year in the fall, they come down to the creeks and streams to search for salmon. They are highly intelligent animals, but the young bears will have to supplement this intelligence with experience. And developing their skills takes practice. But in all fairness, not even the seasoned veterans are successful all of the time. But eventually, their perseverance pays off. One of the most important lessons the young bears will have to learn is finding their place in the social hierarchy. The most dominant bears will command the best fishing spots, a lesson that some will have to learn the hard way. This is a ghost bear, or Moksgm'ol, as they are known in the Tsimshian language, a black bear with a creamy white coat. But they are not albinos. Biologists tell us that the spirit, or Kermode bear as they are also known, are a very rare subspecies of American black bear that receive their white coats from a recessive gene. No one knows for sure how many of these bears exist, but current estimates put its numbers at only a few hundred, making it one of the rarest subspecies of bear in the world. This is Ma'a. Her name means grandmother, and in recent years she has become a bit of a celebrity. She's been featured in a television wildlife documentary show, an IMAX movie, and has appeared on the cover of National Geographic magazine. As her name suggests, Ma'a is one of the oldest bears here. While the younger black bears expend needless energy trying to catch fish, she draws upon her decades of experience, wisely waiting for the right opportunity. Sometimes fishing out dying salmon that are seeking refuge in the shallows along the edge of the creek. After taking her fill, Ma'a leaves the creek to find her daybed and take an afternoon nap in the rainforest. But later, as she returns to the creek, she finds that it has risen from the afternoon rains, making it difficult for her to walk along the banks of the creek, while making it easier for the salmon to evade her. But after taking a shortcut through the forest, Ma'a emerges downstream at one of her favorite fishing spots, where the creek is wider and the water more shallow. At this time of year, it is not uncommon for bears to eat 3 times more food than normal. Gaining as much body weight as possible before winter hibernation is essential to surviving the winter months. Going hungry now is not an option. They need to consume up to 20,000 calories a day, so the bears will gorge themselves on any protein-rich salmon they can find. In a few weeks, the bears will leave this stream and look for a warm den to spend the winter. But when the snow and ice melts again in the spring, true to Raven's promise, the spirit bears will once again return to these magical valleys, as they have for thousands of years.